The police officers with kids inside went inside and rescued their kids first before they allowed anyone else to get that. And there's video of that footage.
Some law enforcement officers actually went into school to get their kids out. Can you talk about that?
Right. So what we do know, Vanessa, right now that there was some police officers, families trying to get their children out of the school because it was an active shooter situation. Right.
As a memorial start for the victims, 19 students and 2 teachers, the local police chief is now under investigation by the Department of Justice. All eyes are on the 77 minutes response time after Police Chief Pete Arredondo wrongly believed that the situation had changed from an active shooter situation to a barricaded subject and ordered tactical teams not to enter the classroom. Here's what the director of Texas Department of Public Safety had to say at a press conference.
But why was this decision made not to go in and rescue these children?
Again, the on-scene commander considered it a barricaded subject and that there was time and there were no more children at risk. Obviously, based upon the information we have, there were children in that classroom that were at risk, and it was, in fact, still an active shooter situation and not a barricaded subject. Hey, from the benefit of hindsight, where I'm sitting now, of course it was not the right decision. It was the wrong decision, period. There's no excuse for that. But again, I wasn't there, but I'm just telling you, from what we know, we believe there should have been an entry at that as soon as you can.
Okay, so this one's a hard one to talk about, but I kind of wanted to ask you guys your reaction about the reaction time and also as well what's being talked about in city circles about gun control laws is raising the age limit from 18 to 21. I want to know that would help curb what we're seeing like as an uptick in the mass shootings. I want to go to Angelique first. Angelique.
This is by far the biggest debacle in police history. The worst case about this is the fact that no one would even know publicly how badly they messed up if the little boy who survived didn't go live on television and tell everyone his version of the story. If he did not say that we heard the police officers say, come out or put your hands up if you're okay, let us know where you are. And that little girl opened her mouth and put her hands in the air, and that man went in the room and shot her. And had they not done that, had they done their research, more people would have survived than died. That could have been a complete massacre with no survivors. They really jeopardized lives with their stupidity. On top of that, I don't know if anybody's seen the video of the police officers holding back parents and handcuffing them for wanting to go get their kids while they went inside and got their own families, their own children. The police officers with kids inside went inside and rescued their kids first before they allowed anyone else to get that. And there's video of that footage.
Some law enforcement officers actually went into school to get their kids out. Can you talk about that?
Right. So what we do know, Vanessa, right now that there was some police officers, families trying to get their children out of the school because it was an active shooter situation right now. It's a terrible situation right now. And of course, just as we mentioned, the loss of life, it's just terrible. It's a terrible tragedy when that took place. But again, we got to keep acknowledging those brave men and women that actually were there on scene.
So this incident is beyond. It was beyond preventable. It was beyond salvageable. And what they did was reckless and it was stupid and it resulted in people's lives. To that point, there should be no limit on an age for an armed rifle. I understand the right to own and bear your own arms. I agree with that. But I feel like every other thing in this world, they should have to go through psych evals. They should have to see doctors. They should have to see police officers and be trained and be registered publicly with pictures, not just by name, and everything they do be put on a registry. Because if you want that right, you can have it, but you have got to have a reason for it. And you have to notify that reason like we do when we get on a plane and we go to another country, how we got to notify what our plan is or what we plan to do. They need to do that too. Personally, for me, I think it should just be abolished. Every other country that's abolished guns to the public has survived peacefully with no school shootings. Children should never have to pay for the sins of their parents. And that's exactly what we're doing.
Let's start with the age thing. I think raising it to 21 will have absolutely no positive effects. Because if you look at it, how many of us drank before we were 21? How many of us smoked before we were 18? If somebody has a will, they will find a way. Not everybody is good and kind, and guns will end up in the wrong hands no matter the circumstances. I totally agree with Angelique that there should be a series of multiple steps and just things that should be in place for people to obtain guns. I should not be able to go to the store and in 30 minutes be able to come home with a loaded gun with no training, no knowledge, no nothing. I don't believe in that. I don't believe that's the right way to go. We all have the right to do other things, but we all have to register. We have to register to vote. We have to register in a lot of other things that we have rights to do so. So why is this one so different? And the fact that we would implicate these steps would not infringe on that right because it still is offering that right to those people that decide that they would like to own a gun for whatever reason. The what happened, the situation in Texas, when I look at it, it's another Pulse situation where there's victims and it took too long. It took too long. People suffer the consequences because you're undereducated, underprepared, undertrained, whatever that is. It was the lack of the department that costed everybody their lives.
Yeah.
I just want to add to that statement. I think I should be more specific in what I mean. I think there's no need for an automatic assault rifle of any kind. If you want to protect yourself, go get you a pea shooter or a small handgun. Okay, sure, why not? I don't think that that's any better. I think that that still calls for bad things to happen because people do stupid things all the time. As humans, we make mistakes constantly, and rarely do we ever learn from them. So says history in the past billion years, right? But I think that if they take all assault rifles and all automatic shooting weapons, period, off the shelf, you're going to see a lot less. You don't see anybody going in with a hunting bow. You don't see anybody going in with a hunting knife or a machete and going and chopping people up. Right? It's not smart in their minds. Everybody wants an easy way out. So if you take the easy way out, that causes people to have to learn how to shoot. They have to learn how to aim. They have to put some actual effort into it. Every school shooting or massacre that has ever happened has been from people going and creating things that they find with the greatest of ease because they had the access to it. So I'm against the easy access. And I think that while raising the age might prevent people in high school from going and shooting up their own fellow students, that does not stop somebody from waiting until they're 21 and going and getting a gun and shooting up somebody else's kids or somebody else's problems as a revenge plot or something. It's always going to happen whether there's a will with and there's a way.
Yeah, and I think Adam touched on that earlier when he said, how many times did we smoke smoke cigarettes or bought alcohol before the age of 21? I just kind of wanted to say the training thing, like they were actually trained 2 months for a situation like this. I just don't understand why do they stand outside. It's kind of like what happened in the Parkland shooting. I think Parkland's why I created this show so I can say my piece. But yeah, raising the age. Wait, first the reaction time and not going in. I couldn't see how you thought even if he was like a barricaded person, not going in and like handling the situation and dealing with him and disarming him or killing him. However you need to deal with it fast. But also as well, I just kind of want to say with the raising the age limit, it's not going to do a damn thing. I think there is no reason, just like Angelique said, there's no reason why we have assault rifles. Because I'm just like Adam, my mind went back to like Pulse. I was out at cocktails the other evening having one of their virgin cocktails, which I love. Um, and I was looking around because every time after something like this happens, I'm thinking it's going to happen again. And I think that, Congress needs to take action now. I don't think it should have taken children's deaths for anyone to do anything about this. I don't think it should have taken the deaths that happened in Buffalo the week before or the other 11 mass shootings that also happened this weekend. I think we need to like stand up as citizens ourselves to resolve this gun control issue because, like Amzik said, other countries don't have this problem. We ran out of time, so we'll go and we'll be right back.